shit.
Make the change, rearrange, and life seems strange, but you gotta keep your aim, stay focused on the game, don't quit.
1, 2, 3, we are live. Another episode of Eduardo Live with Mervi Lamminen, all the way from Helsinki, Finland. Welcome to the show, Mervi.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here, definitely.
Well, tell us something about Finland that the world should know that maybe they don't know.
Well, in December, I think the main thing we talk about here is the darkness. So it's really dark, and unfortunately, no snow at the time.
What do Finnish people do when it's so dark all the time?
Sleep, I think. Sleep.
What about sauna? The famous
Oh,
sauna.
Yes, that's of course on the list as well.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Reading your profile, I see CEO and founder of Auntie, keynote speaker, experienced entrepreneur, and passionate about well-being. So happy you are, because I'm also very passionate about well-being. So this is going to be an amazing episode. And I would like to ask you, like, this passion, this drive that you have, where did it start? Like, what is your first significant memory that propelled you to be here today in front of me?
Of course, there's like hundreds of those moments when these things have crossed my way. I think I've been dreaming about being an entrepreneur ever since I was in Helsinki School of Economics, because my other option was to be a psychologist. But I actually went to a test done by a psychologist, and she gave me this end result that maybe this aggressive things you have in your character are better suited for economics than being a psychologist. So I ended up going to business school, and I'm very happy about it. But I've always been interested in psychology and people's mind ever since. And of course, later on, when I proceeded in my career, and I was working as a head of unit and a part of management team, I started being really exhausted and eventually quit the job without knowing what I'm going to do next. But I just needed to get rid of all that and then see how things go from there.
So how did you come up with the idea to Auntie? How did that come?
It wasn't straightforward. So I had like plenty of ideas. What do I want to do? And then I did start start working in one other startup, which is not like a mental well-being startup, but it's more like physical well-being startup. But the thought of doing something with mental well-being didn't give up or didn't leave. So after I quit there, I started thinking that, hey, I need to do something about this. And actually, I had just moved from Kerava to another city to Helsinki. And when I moved, I lost my meditation book. And when I did that, and I was looking for that, I got really anxious and angry because I couldn't find it. And I was thinking, oh my God, all this information should be on my cell phone, because I'm not losing my phone. So that's when it hit me that, hey, I need to make something about this. And I was actually thinking about a mobile app, but ended up realizing that that's not maybe the thing that I want to do, and ended up doing what Auntie does today.
I really like your concept. Like, I have to say, and not only your concept, I like your layout, your UX. Like, I'm a UX freak. I love good design. I'm also very good front end, actually, because that's my strongest part, you know. But what I do is that I build really good products. I love that thing, you know. I love my craft, you could say. And I really like what you have, like the whole concept. It's so many things that you have on your website that I like, you know. I don't even know where to start, to be honest. And I always speak my heart. If I don't like something, I will tell you. So when I say this, I mean it, you know.
Thank you.
For the people that don't know what Auntie is, how would you describe to them, like an elevator pitch? Like, what is Auntie? Why is it so important? And how do we use it?
Auntie serves. We're selling our services to companies. We do have some individual consumer customers as well, but we sell to companies to help employees to feel better. And what we do there is that we offer service packages such as stressed out, lost in transition, sleepless in Seattle, and so on. We have currently 13 or 14 service packages. Each of them includes 5 individual sessions with our professionals. So it's like a hybrid model, I'd say. So it's not purely digital, but it's highly digital. So all the sessions have always been online, already before COVID-19. And then you mentioned our graphics and our design. So we have put a lot of effort into that, and I think it's not just to look good or to look nice, but it's also to lower the threshold so that people actually would come to our service before they are in a need of actual health care. So that's what we're gonna do.
When I press like session packages, 1 second, my dog.
Yeah.
She will. This. Okay, that will be a cutout.
That's okay.
When I look at your Shibo, she's not.
When be part of this.
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
When I look at your website and I like press session packages, Shibo, she's not. Okay, 1, 2, 3. When I look at your website and I press like session packages, I really like the structure you made, because this is usually what we experience in any company. You know, I've been in this industry for 20 years. I did a burnout. It was almost 1 year of my life, actually. So I know a lot about the things. I'm actually writing a book called Way of the Passionate. Wayofthepassionate.com. You could read the article if you like. That's like a mini version of the book, you could say, like the conclusion that I came to. And my experience is that companies are not addressing this seriously enough, and it's costing so much money. Sick leave, leaders burning out, and companies don't know how to address this usually, you know. And this is what I like so much, because what you do is that you pinpoint the bottlenecks that they have hard time to understand, you know, like stress is something serious. Sleepless, like to not be able to sleep, that was what the major trigger for my like depression during my burnout was. Actually, I didn't sleep for 2 weeks almost, and it was like straight down the rabbit hole for me.
Yep.
And who is like leading me? Like I like this one so much. Like how many times haven't even a whole team felt like leaderless, right? Like where should we go, you know? And that creates frustration. It creates anxiety. And there's so many things here, like lost in transition, overachiever. That's me, actually. And I train hard on the overachiever part. I try not to. I don't want to burn out. I can say, like, I became another man after my burnout. I became a better version of me. Like, I would say, like a 2.0 Eduardo, because I learned so much about myself, about what is important in life. But I don't recommend a burnout as a treatment, I can tell you. Then it's better to go to Auntie, go to like a coach, a mentor, somebody that could help you in a better way than burning out.
Yes, there has to be easier way to find out who you are and to get to version 2.0 than doing the actual burnout, because that is hard for the individual. That is also expensive for the society and employees. So it's not highly recommended to get burnout just to become a better person.
I think most companies, like at least HR department, they are aware of the numbers, like sick leaves, burnouts. They know the numbers. How come that they have so hard time to address the issue? What is your, like, after all these years with your solution, what is the main problem for a company, do you think, to get started with well-being? Like, are they not fitted? Do they don't have the person to help out? Or maybe it's a role missing, like head of well-being. I don't know. What is your experience on this?
I think there's plenty of reasons. I think first of all, has to mention that maybe within these 5 years that we've been working with Auntie, I think the general atmosphere has changed a lot into better, definitely into better. And now even top managers are starting to acknowledge, to realize that, hey, this is actual problem. This is something that we can do something about. Because I think there's a lot of occupational healthcare professionals even who think that, hey, people just do get burnouts. We do have a high stress level that there's nothing we can do, which is of course bullshit, because there's lots of things we can do. Of course, we can't prevent everything, and people will get depressed, and they need diagnosis, they need medicine and so on. But there's lots of things we can do also in preventive ways. But I think nowadays, basically, I'd say, if I had to say, around more than 90 or 95% of HR people know that this is an important issue. Of course, the things that they are experiencing maybe is the lack of support from the top management. Uh, Maybe in some places they don't know which services, like if they don't know us or they don't know similar services, so they don't know what to do about it. And then there is the third problem that even when a company takes Auntie or some support programs into use, how do they get the employees to use it? Because we still have stigma. The graphical design and all those names are they're done to reduce the stigma around this issue, but there's still stigma,
And
unfortunately.
that is what annoys me so much.
Yeah,
My burnout
yeah,
was about 10 plus years ago.
yeah,
And when I was at the bottom of my major clinical depression that didn't last like 1 month, it was like 4 months, months and months. And I went to my therapist, and I remember that day I was feeling so bad. I didn't know if I would exist the second day. I was like,
yeah,
I had reached bottom.
yeah,
Before the burnout, I was this entrepreneur. I was in the newspaper. I was invited to all the entrepreneur mingles, and now I was living in my father's sofa in a big depression. A grown-up man. So I
yeah,
was so ashamed of all this. So I asked my therapist, am I the only entrepreneur leader that is sitting in this sofa? I'm reading that this is so common among leaders and entrepreneurs. But why is nobody speaking? She said, Eduardo, it's stigma, and people are so ashamed to talk about being human, about not feeling good. They need to present this kind of image of success, always successing. And I got so angry, I got so angry because I needed that book, I knew that in my entrepreneur network that I belonged to, I knew I was not the only one that
yeah,
had suffered how I suffered. So I decided there and then that if I could come back and learn from this experience, I will write a book. And that is the book that is coming next year, because now I learned so much. And this is what annoys me. How can we be ashamed of being human? If
yeah,
anxiety is part of what we are, if depression is part of what we are, crying is part of what we are, and also laughing,
yeah.
why are we ashamed? I don't get that anymore. I decided to not hide my humanness anymore.
Yeah.
I'm just open with it.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of even funny when some people, because I have my own experience of burnout, quitting my job, like that was 8 years ago approximately, and I'm telling about it also in podcasts and in media here in Finland and so on, and people come to me that, hey, it's so brave when you tell about it, and there's nothing brave about that. It's just telling about my life, and that's all. It was brave to get over it, to seek for help. That was brave. There's nothing brave about talking about it, but that's how our society still is. And that's why we need podcasts like this and books like that, and especially telling from all walks of life, that different kind of people tell about this experience, so we realize that it's not like a privilege of certain type of people, or it's just entrepreneurs, it's leaders, directors, and customer service people, and anyone, because we are not safe from getting burnout, none of us.
I entered LinkedIn 2 years ago, actually, after meeting a publisher to show my writings, right? I have written a lot before I went to them. And they said, Eduardo, before you had a name, people knew who you were in Sweden, but now you haven't been there for you haven't been active on social media for many years, so you need to create your name again. And I was like, what should I do? They said, I go to LinkedIn, Eduardo, because your texts are for leaders. They will buy your book. And I said, okay, let's try that, And I exited LinkedIn before because all these recruiters were harassing me constantly. I was like, delete, It's like when Eduardo gets annoyed, he like, delete, don't do that. And I never expected the amount of how can you say, like, feedback I'm getting on my text. Like the biggest article I have is wayofthepassionate.com. It's like 600 likes and a huge amount of comments on an article on LinkedIn. That's very unusual, And then people start to contact me, like leaders, entrepreneurs from all around the world, and tell me their stories, That's the reason I started a podcast, because they only dare to talk to me. And what I discovered was that, and this is what you said, right? You're so brave, Eduardo. I'm not brave. I'm just telling you what nobody's want to talk about. There's nothing brave about it. It's the opposite. We should talk about this. We should be proud of being humans. And this is the thing, I talk to people, you can't imagine, how high they are in society, that are suffering in silence. Why do we suffer in silence? How can the stigma be so big that we can never be seen as weak? We always have to be let's say an episode of, I don't know, Success and the Rich or something like that.
So, leave all the humanity out and just show the good side. So I don't think that's real, and maybe that's, if I think about my own journey to become the person that I am now, maybe it was more like when you are younger and you are afraid of everything and you kind of don't know who you are. So then you just want to put on a show that, hey, this is what I am. But later on, you get tired of it. You just want to be yourself and with all the downsides as well. And I think that's something that we all need to do, because I think that's also one key to happiness. That, hey, I accept myself as I am, and yes, I'm not perfect, and there is, of course, there's always a chance of getting burnout, even though I don't think it's less possible after you've done it once and gone through all the things there, and not trying to just push it away, but gone to yourself and done all the reflection with yourself and grown as a person.
I love what you just said there, because that's a problem I noticed, that people, when they go to work, they put on this kind of costume and this mask, right? And they play this play that they are not, just to be accepted, and that will tear you apart, to not be able to be yourself, There's a good story, I tell it, told it so many times, the father, that they have been doctors for generations, and the son is studying at the final year in university, and he come home and he said that, father, my dream is to be a clown, and I'm being depressed all this year studying what I don't want to be in life, right? And I need to ask you for permission that I don't want to finish this, I don't want to take this exam, I want to be a clown. That's my dream, please, father, And the father, he looks at him and said, my son, I love you. I will support you wherever you want in life, but promise me that if you want to become a clown, try to be the best clown that ever existed. And I love that story so much, because it has all the essence of humanity, right? And this is what I learned, that if you live your life by the outer self as your guidance in life, it means expectation of others, society, how you should look, how you should don't look, how should you act. If you live by these expectations that is outer, your inner, if it's not aligned with that, it will start to eat you up, Totally.
Yes.
And that is what people usually call life crisis. It's not a life crisis. It's an inner crisis that you have yourself by living something maybe you don't want to be. And they call it life crisis. That should change name to inner crisis, I would say. You're not listening to your true inner self.
Yes, and it's so easy not to listen. It is so easy to just put it aside and I think that hey, I have this nice job, I'm getting paid right quite nicely, and I have this house and mortgage, and everybody's happy around me, and I want to keep my friends instead of saying that hey, actually I want to be a clown, and knowing that hey, most of my friends will like turn their backs on me, and maybe they were not your friends to being with, but you don't want to maybe face that situation. So that's actually what takes courage. That's what is being brave. That then you actually start listening to yourself and go after the things that you feel important, whether they were seen important by others. I remember one of the first meetings I had with Auntie. I was in a room of I was meeting one large Finnish company, and there was maybe from 5 to 10 HR people, and they were all gathered there. And then I showed them our slides, and hey, this is what I'm going to do, and they started laughing, and I was like, oh my God, what did I do wrong? Am I dressed up funnily or something like? Did I miss something? And I had to ask that, hey, I'm sorry, but is there something I can do that you obviously have some kind of things that you are laughing at? And they, no, we were just laughing at who's gonna go and tell this director X that he's gonna go to a therapy now. And I was, oh my God. So that's what you were actually laughing. But they actually did become our customer too. So they did understand the value in our service. But I don't think I've experienced that later on. So from that on, things have been changing so much that not not I haven't been facing HR people who would be laughing that hey, this is not something that we need, or do you actually think that this would be useful, or we don't have these kind of problems. It's rarely we hear that. At times we do, but in most of those cases, I think that those HR people maybe are not. They're just closing their eyes because it's easier. It is easier to close your eyes than to start actually acting upon it.
I like that story. That was a good story. Like even if I'm a digital expert, I'm invited to speak like a Red Hat Summit, like all this kind of also digital events. I'm actually going to speak at the HR or Hacking HR Summit also. But usually they invite me to speak at these very like high tech kind of events, right? And I never talk technology. I always talk about people, right? People in relation to technology, because that is the problem today in the industry. They have forgotten that it's people first, the rest second. Process, technology, whatever you want to have, that's secondary to people. And the reason for that is very simple. Like, as long as it's people that are buying, loving or hating our products, what should matter the most is these people. As long as it's people like us doing these products with love and passion, what should matter the most is us.
Yes. Because I don't think, well, I guess it depends on a business field where you're operating, but eventually your product or your service should be helping human beings in way or other, in one way or other. But so that's really important thing, because nothing else matters if you're not helping human being or helping like environment, and that in that way helping in human beings, like what else can matter. I always say that this problem that we have now, people getting burned out and other mental issues, that is the most important issue that we need to solve, because if we don't solve that, there's no other, like nobody's interested in other problems. We don't care about environment either if we are too depressed, or if we are too not feeling well enough to do anything about anything else. So first we have to help people to feel better. We have to be supportive to people so they can solve other problems as well.
When I lecture about like the future, like what is happening in the future, I'm a very positive about like where we're going. Actually, I think that we are entering a paradigm shift in leadership, that we're going to humanize it. It's going to take time, but we're going to succeed. And history shows that, actually, because 120 years ago, Eduardo was maybe 9 years old, going to his first day at work at a factory. together with Mervi.
Yeah.
Yeah, we started to work actually at the factory floor at age 9. So, and then this like overseer or something came by and hit us in the head with a stick and said, work harder.
Yeah.
And that was accepted. Now, 70 years ago, 1950, me and Mervi, we worked in an office. We were like office people, right? And then some boss came by and pinched one of our female colleagues in the back, and we laughed, and that was accepted.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So we have actually become more and more and more. This is my theory. We're becoming more and more humanized. And the next step now is well-being. The problem is that in any paradigm shift that happens in society, and this is a fact, when we went from water as the main source of energy to electricity, like steam to electricity, when the whole industry had accepted that this is the future, it still took 30 to 40 years before it was electrified. And the reason for that is the number of years it took to replace all the leaders that were there thinking in the old way. I believe we need to change that. I think we need to implement a new leadership with a mindset of change from day one.
Yeah.
Totally.
To do the transformation faster. And I think we have possibility to do it faster because we can train people faster, we can get information faster if we want, and that helps us a lot in this era.
So that is why I say that digital transformation for me has nothing to do with technology. It's about people. We need to train people to be adaptable, to be flexible, and to be healthy.
Yeah,
there is where well-being come in, and this is what I have so hard time to understand, is that why is not well-being a strategy in all companies? Why is digital transformation a strategy and not well-being? I can't get that. What is your answer to that? Why is not well-being a strategy?
We haven't. I think what we have failed earlier is to show in numbers, because the fact is that most of CEOs, the language they talk is numbers. They understand money, they understand numbers, and I think that what we need to show more in future is that, hey, this is actually numbers, this is money. You are losing money all the time when people are not productive at work, when they are doing something else or they are getting sick leaves, and that's maybe, and that's I think that is increasing a lot. I'd say that has changed a lot within a year or two, that top management level people now understand that it's not a soft skill, or it's not a soft thing, but it's actually the hardcore of basically any company. Even though if you had paper machines, if you don't have people who maintain the machines and develop them further, and are feeling good enough and smart enough to not smart enough, good enough, and in good enough shape to do that job, it's not going to be moving forward. So it's not going to be getting better like it should. So I think there is a big change going on, and it's definitely a change for better. But yes, so far it hasn't been on top level management agenda enough, definitely.
For the top managers listening into Eduardo Live, I will share some numbers with you. It's time to wake up.
Yeah, definitely.
48% of all sick leaves are due to stress. 34% of employees are on the verge of burnout, so-called sick attendance. Stressed employees lose 30% of their productivity. Cost of stressed employees estimated to 1.57 times their salary. Now, we don't need to be a rocket scientist to understand how much money this is costing every year, right? Yeah. Here is a link to the research. Thank you, Sverker Månsson, for providing this slide for us. I will share it in the comments. And this is the thing, that reality is that it is costing a huge amount of money. And we know, Mervi, you and me know that implementing well-being does not cost more, right?
No, definitely doesn't. Definitely doesn't. It's much more cheaper. And the earlier you do, the more preventive programs, support you have, the cheaper it is. But every time when you have to go to a diagnosis, you've already lost the game pretty much. You've lost a lot of money, and you've lost, of course, the human suffering is the worst part of it, but also money. So,
What I like with your solution a lot is that many companies, they have this kind of frame agreement with psychological companies, and the problem I have with that, I think it's really good that they have.
yeah,
The only problem is that the stigma is so high. So for a leader to go to a psychologist and knowing that maybe somebody will find out in the company, that is so high. So what I believe is that we need to have some kind of these soft solutions in between,
yeah,
like your solution. It could be also a support group inside the company,
yes,
something we try to establish where I am.
yeah,
We try to
mentor.
establish this kind of like friends talk kind of group with people like me that have burnt out, people like have a lot of experience. We're not replacing the psychologist. That's not our job, right? But
That is not our job.
at least you can talk to a colleague like, hey, Eduardo, you burnt out. Like,
Yeah,
can you tell me, like, what did you do? Because I'm feeling so bad. I'm on the brink of burnout. I
yeah,
think there are so many things a company could do preventively by humanizing. By
yeah,
humanizing. That's the
yeah,
key for the future
yeah.
workplace. I say it here and now, humanizing. That's what you need to do for the future.
And I think that support, like peer support type of thing that you were mentioning, or you were talking about, it's like just like you said that it's not replacing psychological, like psychology work. Definitely it's not, because that's not our work. But if it can help people to realize that, hey, I could benefit from seeing a psychologist. So that's already, that job is done there. If you lower the threshold, if you take the stigma out, telling that, hey, yes, I was depressed, or I was burnout, and this is where I got help. So that's actually the main point there in this kind of mentoring or support group things.
I'm going to share something. I usually never share what I'm going to do. Early in my career, I remember like I was like young entrepreneur. I was like, usually I did these big bangs, right? I like did this amazing presentation, like this release party, and everybody was like, wow, that's a new thing, right? And then they go as they expected, and everybody was like, boo. So now I do the opposite. Now I don't show anything until I know it will fly.
Yeah,
You learn by mistakes, right? You get tired of doing them again and again. Even if maybe
yeah,
you need to fail 20 times before you change, right? But
yeah.
you learn something, I think, in life from the journey that we embark on as passionate people. And now I would actually share something because it's very soon to fly, and something I would like to invite you to, Mervi.
Yep.
I will show it now. I would love if you would like to join us.
Sounds exciting. Definitely.
Here it is.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have gotten together people from all around the world, experts, therapists, psychologists, researchers, but also survivors and experts. We want to make a change. We think it's time. We need to unite. We need to help companies, individuals to actually move for a more humanized workplace. So we have started Leader Support Group. And here you see a preview, what is coming. It's an article about how we see well-being 2021 and in relation to COVID, of course, because that is such a big thing. And then we are a community, actually, by and for people that have knowledge, that have survived, and know how to give advices to people. So it's about 10 people today, plus in the community. And we would like to invite you, Mervi, to be part of the community and the launch. I can't tell when the launch will be done, but we're very close. And our ambition is to spread awareness, help each other that are in this field to get into the companies. So, and organize events, write articles, research together. all these kind of things, right?
Yeah, it's been honor to be involved with this, definitely.
Maybe we have accepted. We have a new memory leader support group. We need a. I need to buy this like kind of like button, and then it's like where the sound gets right.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
I need to invest in that. That will be my next Eduardo thing. I will have this button like here to the right, like it's like coming fireworks and stuff.
Yes, that's definitely something you need. There has to be more fireworks in everyone's life.
If you could share something with like future young female entrepreneurs that like or like just taking their first step in realizing their dreams, like what would you like to tell them to think about, what to do, what not, maybe okay, what not to do. That's a hard one because we usually do what we're told not to do, right? But what is your advice for this young and like a future entrepreneurial female, young woman that is coming from university and have this amazing dream of changing something, improving something?
First of all, no matter how great your idea is, no matter how great you are or how good you are or how educated you are, you're not going to be doing it alone. So look out, check who can be there with you, who are the most the talents or the people that you need who will be supporting your career or your entrepreneurship. And it can be like there can be friends who help you like personally, that hey, yes, you can do it, and maybe they buy you food when you're out of money, when you're putting all your money into your company. And then of course there is support that you will be needing for the running the company, for finding out the right people, because that's more important than money. So search out, see who you can do it with, and start from there. And then of course stay faithful to your own idea. So then when you run across someone who is saying, like, of course you will, especially when you come to mental health, like 5 years ago, like it was quite a few times I heard that, hey, I don't see this is working. That then, because we are not doing, for example, Auntie is not doing healthcare. So yes, I did find out that some psychologists telling me that, hey, you can't do this because it's not healthcare, and I don't believe in something that's not healthcare, or then it has to be like sports, different kind of thing. And then you just have to believe in that and keep going. And like you said, you'll get no's for 20 times, and you still have to get up and pull yourself together and understand, like have the faith that, hey, this is the thing that I want to do, and everything else will follow.
That was so lovely. So for all these people that you inspired now, like how can they contact you? How can they reach out to Mervi? Like what is your favorite communication channel?
LinkedIn is maybe the LinkedIn messages is maybe the most easiest way to get in contact with me. Of course, by email too, but LinkedIn is maybe even better.
I will share it.
Yes.
Here you find, if you see like yellow behind Auntie, that's the right Mervi you should contact.
Yeah. Solutions for everyday struggles is that what says. Ratkaisuja tökkivään arkeen, when the going gets tough.
I like that one.
Yeah.
I have to collect. I need to, please send me that on the chat on LinkedIn later. I collect this kind of nuggets,
Yeah.
I want to have it in original language. Only Finnish people will say like, oh, he understands this, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yes, you have to be Finnish to understand that. Yeah.
I actually been to Finland. That was a different experience, I would say.
Oh, okay. I hope you was here on other times of years than November or December.
I was in summer actually, like this was like I was with my grandmother, so I was still I don't remember exactly how old I was, but at least I was like between 20 and 30 or something.
Okay.
So and we always had a lot of Finnish friends, because I grew up in Sweden. There's a lot of Finnish people in Sweden,
Yes, there is.
And we have so many close Finnish friends growing up. I remember like the culture was so similar. The only difference is like Finnish people was not so talkable as like Latinos, right? But I think the humor is the same, And that is what I love so much about Finnish like humor, is that we can laugh at that, or like misery or depressions. We can laugh at that, and I think it's so important to be able to laugh at life.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's one of the proven ways of feeling better is to be able to laugh, just laugh. And even though like sometimes the things that like if mental health things and mental well-being things, they're not always easy. So it's not always easy to find things to laugh, but you will find, and it's nice.
So that was my experience with Finnish people, that maybe they don't talk so much generally, like Latinos, like blah blah blah. Oye, compadre, ¿cómo está? Blah, blah, blah. Like we're like that, right? we're like this Speedy Gonzalez figure, like running around, like. But when I think when Finnish people talk to me, when they open their heart, they speak deeply, and I love that. I love a deep talk about life.
That's one of the main characteristics in Finnish people that we don't do so much. We are not so good in mingling in parties and so on. But when you get to know Finnish people, most likely they are quite deep and talk about real issues, and they're easy to trust, I'd say.
I will go next summer if I get the chance. I will have to visit Finland again.
Hopefully.
And what I love the most, I remember with Finland, was this some kind of potato salad, potato soup that we ate at a wedding. I remember.
Oh, okay. So
I love that soup. I don't know why, but still today it's like that was like the best soup, and it was so simple soup, but it was so good. I love that soup from, I don't know, it was like regional soup or something, but it was so good, so good. I still remember that.
Happy to hear that even our food, which is not maybe always known to be so good, like French.
Not like French, right?
Italian. but yeah, happy to hear that. Yes, we have a lot of good foods too. Some weird ones, have to admit, but also good ones.
And in your career, like, can you share with us some glimpse of where you wanted to give up, maybe? Like, when did it become too much, and how did you handle that? If you could share like some moment. I had many of those in my life. It's people believe like, oh, they are like entrepreneurs. That's so cool. You want to work hard, you want to have a lot of anxiety and sleepless nights, welcome you.
Yes. I think there's a couple of sayings about entrepreneurs. One is that, yes, you are free when you're an entrepreneur. You are free to choose which 16 hours of your day you want to work. And I think the other definition of entrepreneur goes like that. You are the entrepreneur is one that doesn't want to do 40 hours a week, but instead of like to prevent or like not having to do 40 hours a week, they do 80 hours a week. So it's a lot of work, and yes, at times it looks nice outside, and yes, definitely, like it's the mission, like this is the most inspiring career that I've had, and I've loved my job before. So of course it's more meaningful when you'll get to do the things the way you see that you want to do them. But at the other side of that story is that it's also the hardest by far. It's the hardest, loneliest also, like especially for example for me, when before things actually got started, like how many times you hear that this is not going to be working out, this is not good, and then you kind of like think that, okay, well, I thought this is a good idea and I can see a future in there. But it's quite a few sleepless nights thinking about it, that how about if I'm wrong? Like I do remember those moments that how about if I'm wrong? How about this is not? How about the mental well-being is not interesting in for companies? And if I'm just totally wrong, and this is just my idea, and I'm just biased because I've been reading about it, and my brains are thinking differently. And then of course we've had our share of what do you call it, valley of death, when you run out of money and you run out of everything. I think it's maybe 95%, maybe at least I've seen that kind of figure somewhere, that 95% of companies, startups go down because they just don't have the things to stay alive, and the most common reason is that they get into struggle with the other founders. So founders don't get along, so they have to put it down. And yes, we had that kind of situation too. Auntie was a bit more than a year old when the founding team, that I was the founder, and then I had co-founders, 3 co-founders there, and we started seeing things differently. I was the only one who was working full time. They're actually quite ambitious works in other companies. And that started paying off because I had to do other things, and they were occupied with their other careers, and then I had to take that up, and it wasn't easy. It took almost 6 months, and I was like this close to dying there when because I felt that this is my company, I want to continue, and they saw things differently before we got into some kind of conclusion, and they left, and I was already like. I had this great privilege that one of my close friends lived in South Africa, and she found out at the same time I had to take my other company that I used to have at that point to file that for bankruptcy. So I had this struggle in Auntie with the other founding members and the other company that I was taking bankruptcy. So I was totally out of money. I was out of everything, and I just thought that I've just ruined all my life. And one of my close friends was living in South Africa, and she found out, and she said that, hey, I'll buy you a ticket here, get here, and we'll go hiking in the mountains. And that's what I did. Maybe in a week or so, I went into a plane. I didn't have the money even, like she had to pay for the ticket. And for 2 weeks, we just walked there. And all I remember is that I was tired. I wasn't talking too much. I was just following her when she took me to the mountains. And by the end of that hiking trip, or that couple of weeks there, I remember that I was thinking that I have to give up on that because we are not getting any resolution here, and even though I feel that this is my mission, in like my life mission, but I have to give up. That this is like I have to save myself because this is not going anywhere, and so I just have to try to do something else. So I kind of made a decision to give up on that. Hey, this is not worth it no more. And maybe a couple of hours later, the things got resolved. The other founders sent an email that, hey, okay, we are out and you can do whatever you want to. And that's when I think that Auntie was like reborn, that we got a new chance. And after a couple of months after, we had a new team and a new board. And that's when we actually started rolling. So there's lots of things like that, and that it was so close, or actually already lost my hope, but then something happened and I gained it back.
I love that so much because that's a topic that people don't talk about so much. And this is the problem that I have, that a lot of innovation environments like incubators, like all these things, are run by people that don't have our experience. So they will not tell you they will say you need to write a business plan. And like, I have done 1 million business plans. It doesn't help me anything. What I need to do is an operational plan. I need to start to earn money, like from here on now. And I need to know what is the first step I should take and why I should take it. And then I should know my second and third step. Beyond that, I can't plan because I'm not like a magician. I can't see the future. What I can do is plan each 6 months ahead. That is what I call operational, right? That's the first mistake that incubators do. They focus too much on the business, too little on the operational. That is actually what counts in the end of the day. Second thing that they don't do, they don't tell you about reality. Like the journey that you will embark on will change your life forever. The taste in the blood that you get, like when you taste out, like in the movies, right? It will never go away. Like you're like the ship is there like till you die, you know. For me, even if I work in big corporate, I don't operate differently. I will tell you, I have changed some things, but I'm still like Eduardo, like entrepreneur. That's why they call me entrepreneur, right? I haven't changed. They don't need to give me a bag of money to start anything. They're like, Eduardo, we need to do this. I like, okay, I know what to do at every step of the way. I don't think like, oh, I need money to do this. That's not what I think. I think like, okay, I need to have a really clear vision, right? I need to find the right people, like, because if they believe in me, they will work with me, with or without funding. That is what I do, you know. So when I lecture and coach like startups or like new entrepreneurs in the early ages, there's one thing that you address now that is so important: partners. I have Gregory, actually is an amazing person online. I will put the link also on the comments. I think he said something like this, that if you are more than 3 founders, you will probably fight, Eduardo.
Yeah.
And he said also that if you're one only, that's the best solution, he said. Because partnership, and this is my conclusion also, that I believe like having a business partner is like finding your second half.
Yeah.
Like your wife, your husband.
Yeah.
If you don't match soul to soul, you will fight and you will have so many problems, because in a separation, nobody wants to back down, right?
Yeah. Yep. Yes. Especially when the business is already up and running, that the value people see is maybe even unrealistic. Maybe it's not even close to what it actually is, but the feeling that we've got about it prevents us that hey, we are not willing to give up. And yes, that's going to be like a war.
The value thing is another thing that like incubators that are not driven by entrepreneurs need to learn. Value is a fantasy number. Value for somebody like me, that's your revenue and your profit, nothing more. Don't tell me like, oh, we have this blockchain application, it's worth 1 billion. It's not worth 1 billion. Reality is it's worth what you're operating. That is reality. In the real world, it works like this. The profit that you do equal how can you say, times amount like 20 or something when you buy a company. Yeah, exactly. So when you have a partner that tell you like, yeah, but our application, it has AI, blockchain, all this kind of thing, it could be worth like 1 billion. Just tell him, you know what? Go and dream. I will not, don't ever pay that money to them. Never.
It's not worth that until the money is in your bank account. Then you know that it was worth it. But up to that moment, just keep working.
Yeah, and what you can do, this is a tip to all everybody's listening that is in this situation. You can start a new company and tell that partner that want to piggyback on you, bye.
Yeah.
Don't let people piggyback on your effort. I haven't had a vacation for 20 years. This is a true fact. What I mean with vacation is that Eduardo goes to Thailand with his family and he doesn't talk to nobody. And I'm a very spiritual person. I do a lot like meditation. I love these kind of things, right? To be close to my inner self. I haven't done that for like I don't know when I have done that last. Like I could say I'm 3 weeks in Thailand. Nobody call me. Nobody contact me.
I know what you mean.
I'm on vacation now, actually, and I already had 16 meetings. You know, it's like.
Same here. I think the 3 weeks in Thailand, which sounds awesome, but maybe it's for someone else in real life.
My point is that we that effort so much should never let nobody piggyback on us, either if it's a VC or I don't care who it is, you know. Because you will meet a lot of people that say like, hi, I'm a business coach, and if you give me some share in your company and I have the contact to like, you know what, I know the CEO of like Microsoft, stuff like that, right? And then they say, I will help you. And then you're like, oh, that's nice, you know. And they're like, oh, but I want 5% of your company. Don't give them that until they have proven themselves, because you can't get rid of people. It's impossible.
It's impossible. But I have to say that then when you find the one that you want to do the business with, like I have found my other side now, it's more like winning in a lottery. I'd rather have this business partner by my side than win in a lottery. So it's definitely worth it, but it takes time. It's not like it's not easy. And when you find the one, then you have to also stick together because it's rare. It's way too rare.
But it also goes the other way, I will tell you, because there's a reason that I mentor entrepreneurs for free. I don't want any shares in their companies, because then they will claim my time.
Yeah.
And usually, like you have at least walked your years, right? So, but usually, like when like this kind of like, let's say they came directly from university, they have this like blockchain idea and they will revolutionize the world, right? And I will like tell them like, I will tell them the art of the work. That is what I will tell them. How to build a good culture, how to build a base of growth. That is what I teach. I don't care what technology you use or what industry you do. It's the same. You need to build a culture of growth that you can walk with a team. You can climb any mountain. That is what I teach, you know.
Yeah.
And the thing is that when they say like, oh, do you want shares in our company? Like you could be like, and I like say no. And the reason I do that is because they don't listen usually. Like I didn't listen either, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they need 5 years or 10 years to mature, like I did before I got all the dots together, right?
Yeah.
So that's the reason that I don't do it actually, because I will go to all these meetings with headaches and like guy like, hey, I told you, you know what I told you 1 year ago, like, and they're like, yeah, Eduardo, I know. So that is the reason I don't do that. I don't have time for that. I have to be honest. I always do 5-year plans. Now I have a new 5-year plan. It's my books actually. I will be in 5 years. I'm an author full out. I have minimum like 2 books out. Actually, that's what I'm working on now. But I have planned for 3 more books after that. If you read my articles, you will understand what I will write about. There's some article called like Meet the Entrepreneurs. There's another article called The Digital Leaders, stuff like that. So if you read my articles, you will get a very good picture. I will just do a quick share of the article I talked about. Let's see. Yes, so if you go to wayofthepassionate.com, I will put it in the description down in the video. You will read, you can say like my legacy article about my journey in life, you know. And the thing about what I talk about your journey in life is that you need to live your inner self more than your outer self. And you need to get peace of mind, you know. You need to leave any kind of hate or anger that you have for the past. You need to let it go. You can't become fulfilled as a human if you can't heal, you know.
Yeah.
Because hate, greed, jealousy, it doesn't bring us anything, you know, like nothing.
Yeah, we just die out of it. That's all it does. It does a lot of things, but none of them are good.
That is why I don't see competitors at all. I only see like good, nice people I want to be with. You can be my biggest competitor. I will still go to lunch with you because we're on the same boat, actually.
Yes. Look, like wanting to solve the same problem with different kind of tools, different kind of approach, but the main goal is the same. And I think it's better to cooperate than compete. It's always better.
Yeah, that's true. So that we're going to make this change. Leader support group with Mervi and all these amazing people. We need to humanize the workplace. We need to aid companies in implementing well-being beyond having just a psychology provider. They need to do more. And the cost for doing that is a millimeter compared to the cost that what they are losing today in sick leaves, loss of productivity, and even as important, I would say like loss of motivation. Like people lose motivation when they are under micromanagement, when they are feeling bad, you know. Definitely. You're paying them to just walk around and send some go to meetings.
Yeah, if you want to micromanage everyone, so why are you even like employing highly skilled people? Like, why don't you just put machines to work then? Like, if you don't let them do their job that they're better at than you are.
That was my biggest revelation, actually. Micromanagement, how harmful it is for any company. Like, no company should have bosses. No, they should have leaders that lead. Yes. No company should have micromanagement. It doesn't work. It never worked. And that is one of the biggest like burnout factors for leader burning out, is that they have a leader that is micromanaging them, killing their spirit, you know.
Yeah.
So before we leave, do you have some final words to the people tuning in? Like, what is Mervi's vision for the future? Like, where should we go, Mervi?
I want to see mental well-being being like when we started, we talk about our professionals like mental personal trainers. So I want people to have the new perspective to mental well-being, the understanding that you can actually treat or train your mental well-being, just like you can train your biceps and triceps at the gym. So start doing things so that you're getting feeling that you start feeling better, you get your better resilience.
I love that one. I actually shared a nugget recently that I would like to share because it's actually what you're talking about now, and also in relation of being, how can you say, like I don't even say entrepreneurs anymore, I say passionate people, because that's what we are. You could be an artist, you could be like a painter, a writer, you live your passion. The only difference is that people that call themselves entrepreneurs, they do it basically because they started a company and they have a product, but
Yeah.
the craft is the same. Like we
Yes.
live for our passion. So what I did is that I made this. I'm part of this community called One Golden Nugget, founded by Steve Foster and some other people, and we have. I have to cut there. I got lost. Okay, I will
Oh,
start. I will start
yes.
again now. Yes, so I'm a member of this community called One Golden Nugget. That is people that are sharing wisdom through these so-called nuggets. They call them like small words of wisdom, right? And some of the members are like Joe Foster, the founder of Rebook. Jose Ochoa, my friend, El Titan, I call him, an amazing serial entrepreneur from USA that is just positivity on legs. He's so amazing. So we have all these amazing people in this like network. And what we do is this. I will show you now. Yeah, we do these nuggets. It's like small words of wisdom. And this is my latest nugget, number 6, is be drifty with everything except a good lawyer, a good accountant, and your well-being.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Definitely, you shouldn't compromise your well-being in any aspect.
And if I would, like, you need to pick one, Eduardo. Like, you can't pick all. Like, you can't have we don't afford like the best lawyer like, you need to pick one. We can give you the best accountant, but then you need to pick between well-being and the best like lawyer, for example. I would go for well-being, because if you don't have your health, your mind, there is no money. You can get all the VC you want in the world. It will not help you. You can't buy yourself out of that.
Nothing
It's
else
the same.
matters.
Yeah, it's the same. Like, you can't go to MBA and think like, oh, I will become an entrepreneur. You have to walk the walk, and it takes years to get there. The same with well-being. You can't buy it in a box. You need to do the job. I done that like for years. Like I tried mindfulness, talk therapy, everything, and everything I tried took me one step like closer for what I wanted to achieve. And that was to find myself. Who is the true Eduardo, and how can I live the life that I want without burning out? Because the life that I want is to be like what I do, right? It means I will probably not have vacation until I retire, or maybe I will not even retire, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And when you're enjoying what you do, maybe you don't have to retire, at least not fully. But yes, that is a.
I will not. Probably what I will do is that I will, maybe I should have some kind of, we should make wine in Chile.
Sounds good. A lot of different kind of options.
Yeah, and what will Mervi do, like, when she retire? Will she retire, or will she like start a new something?
We always joke on this with my business partner, and we think that yes, we are gonna go to somewhere very warm and drink a lot of whiskey. I don't drink whiskey or rum or whatever, but maybe sparkling wine is more than what we you most likely drink, but then we always laugh that, yeah, maybe we do that for 3 days and then we are up to something new, that, hey, then now we have to do this. And I think mental health and mental well-being is the thing, the line in my life, which will follow from now on.
That was so amazing. Mervi, thank you for coming on Eduardo Live. This was an amazing episode. I think a lot of people will have value of this episode.
Hopefully.
And I will put the contact details to Auntie, to your LinkedIn and everything. And yeah, like, thank you for coming. Like, the picker monkey, I have to say, oh, there's the way. That is my mascot, actually.
Okay, good.
It's Kaibo, yes, and it's like this Danish classical design.
Yeah.
And this is something many people on LinkedIn don't know about me, that I'm one of Norway's biggest design collectors of mid-century modern retro space design.
Okay.
Pick ready on Instagram.
Okay.
And what happened was that I met a life coach that said, you need a hobby, Eduardo. You can't be like you're all constantly on with your passion. That's not healthy. Yeah. So I thought about a hobby, and I saw these American pickers on TV, and I love design and like 60s design, right? Okay. And in 2 years, I had become one of Norway's biggest collectors, and that is like me in a nutshell, you know. And not only me, that's like us in a nutshell, right?
Yeah. Yes, that's interesting. And thank you for inviting me. It was a pleasure to be here. And I've been more than happy to contact with all listeners and to share my ideas and to listen to your stories as well.
Thank you, Mervi. We will be talking for sure. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
In Finnish, how we say it?
Näkemiin.
Näkemiin. Hasta la vista. Hey do. Hade. We're international here. Bye.
Make a change, rearrange, and life seems strange, but you gotta keep your aim, stay focused on the game, don't quit. Quitters never win, winning all begins.